Hello consumers, good day. Today, let us discuss why consumer needs protection, particularly when we consider the environment of India and the literacy levels of people. Probably this is more important aspect for discussion. Why consumer needs protection or why consumers are weak. Both we get the same answers. For instance, if consumers are illiterate, then they cannot read anything, they cannot understand anything, and ultimately they can easily be cheated. Such consumers definitely need protection. It is not only the literacy levels. Consumer literacy is totally different. But where this literature is available, this is again a question to be answered. Government of India Consumer Affairs Ministry is running some programs like Jago Grahak Jago. This program gives good information about the financial literacy, economic literacy and so on and so forth. But an ordinary gullible consumer who is in the rural areas are not getting this kind of education to safeguard their own interests. So, consumer need to be protected. At least those consumers who have sufficient knowledge must go to the rescue of the low-level literacy consumers. This is one aspect. Anyway, government is doing it, but voluntary organizations may be doing it, but it is the responsibility of every consumer to protect the fellow consumer, for which consumers require solidarity. It is most unorganized sector, I can say. There is no unity, there is no friendship between the consumers. Unless they are united, every business entity would take them lightly. They don't have any fear about them, and they try to manipulate and cheat. When consumers come together and exhibit that they are really a big force, then definitely cheating would come down. Next is consumer lethargy. You know, every packaged item will definitely contain some information on the packet itself. But even the highly educated people, they don't spend time on reading those labels. It gives very important information about the date of packing, when the product expires, so on and so forth, including MRP. But they are not reading such information. This is where again consumers are to be protected. And most of the consumers are unassertive. When 6 consumer rights are proclaimed, these people will not have any interest in taking those consumer rights unless one is assertive and decide that they will have to protect their rights. They are not protected. In addition to that, many of the consumers are having court phobia. They are afraid to go to a court of law to get compensation. This is one aspect which is keeping them without any kind of protection. Where from they get the protection unless they go to a court of law? Added to it, the consumer organizations or more or less majority of the consumer organizations are very weak, either financially or in the terms of legal literacy and several reasons. So these people, they are not in a position to really educate consumers. Actually, voluntary consumer organizations are meant to protect the interests of the consumers whether they come to them or not. They will have to look to the problems that are existing in that particular area where they are operating and on their own they will have to address those problems by bringing such things to the regulatory authorities or to the local authorities. Otherwise, I say that the voluntary consumer organizations are weak. Just celebrating National Consumers Day or World Consumer Rights Day are not the only responsibilities the consumer organizations have. Day in and day out, when they declare that they are protecting the interests of the consumers, they will have to always on the lookout of searching for the local problems and representing those problems to the authorities. When that is not done, there is no consumer protection, again I say. And in rural areas, the situation is more precarious. In rural areas, there are no voluntary consumer organizations except in a very few places. So this also leaves the consumer without any protection. And villages are haven for all shoddy goods and fake goods. Another aspect where the consumer needs more education is about their greediness. As every human being is greedy to some extent or the other, consumers are also greedy. This greediness is pushing them to several problems. Mahatma Gandhi categorically said that we have enough for our need, but not to our greed. Some consumers expect more profit from less investment. This greediness attracts unscrupulous fraudsters to trap him. They promise a very big profit for lesser investment, and there are some financial institutions that have come up and closed. They promised double the amount within 20 days. There is no such business which can get cent% return within 20 days. Then how this firm is offering cent% on the low investment? People are not looking at this. Because of their greed, they are entering into that trap and getting cheated and losing their money. Particularly, there are three different economic classes of consumers as classified in India: below poverty line, middle economic class, and higher economic class. Higher economic class, because of their richness or whatever it is, they simply don't care how much a seller is charging, what is the quality of the product. They simply spend the money. If the goods are defective, they throw away and go for a new purchase. And it is only the middle class family, the two lower middle class family, which is bothered about this consumer protection. And the below poverty line people, they don't lavishly spend money, they don't have money with them, even for their daily necessities. So they don't much bother whether they are protected or not. Their only problem is to have 2 meals a day. So they are not much interested in their own protection. So with these different economic classes of people, naturally we need to have foolproof protection to consumers. Before I conclude, I will reiterate that consumers require protection not only for them but also for the nation, because it is the consumer who can really improve the economic condition of a country. So consumer protection is the need of the hour, and this is a responsibility not only with the government but to every fellow consumer. Thank you.
ఈ కార్యక్రమం మీకు ఎంతో నచ్చింది కదా? ఇటువంటి మరిన్ని వీడియోల కోసం డాక్టర్ సమరం మల్టీ ఛానల్ నెట్వర్క్ సమర్పించు గోరా వినియోగి ఛానల్కు సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి. అలాగే ప్రక్కనున్న గంట సింబల్ని ప్రెస్ చేయడం మర్చిపోకండి.
download Samaram multi-channel app and watch your favorite channels from your mobile. App available on Google Play Store and subscribe to the channels.